Hello, my face yogis. Today, I was asked by my team to talk to you about skincare and my journey of it over the past years and basically embracing where I am now. So I have gathered together, I have my notes here, I've gathered together a couple stories that I want to tell you because I've had quite a journey with skincare, and I think that I somehow always intuitively knew that I would be in the industry for skincare. And let me explain that. So I have very fair skin. And I always say that if you look at the skin, on the underside of my arm, that's how you really see what it's like, not exposed to the sun. And it's really, really fair. And then when it's exposed to the sun, this happens, all the little sunspots come up, which I don't like. But I've learned to embrace them. So let's rewind for a minute. So when I was younger, because of my fair skin, I was taken to the dermatologist. I had some spots on my back, and I was taken to the dermatologist when I was 18 or 19, which back in the day was not the thing most people did, but I did do it. And the dermatologist told me that because my skin was so fair, I was always going to have to be super sensitive to the sun. So I learned about sunscreen and using that on a daily basis when I was about 19. Meanwhile, all my friends were out doing this with a piece of foil underneath them in full sun and putting the oil on in the whole 9 yards. And if you're old enough, you know what I'm talking about. And nowadays, most young women that care about their skin will not do that. They would never think to go do that. But, and I envy them that they have a much better education than I did when I was their age. But in any case, I feel like I got it about 18 or 19, and I started protecting my face really well. But I did not protect this area of my skin. And over the years, I've learned a ton. So what happened in skincare is when you're younger and you're getting more breakouts, right? Like I would just want to put alcohol on my breakouts. I would want to scrub them. I would want to dry them out. A lot of times I felt like sitting in the sun going like that was going to dry them up and make them like disappear off my face. It's so ridiculous when I think about it now. I just wasn't educated. All of those things are the exact opposite of what I should have been doing. I should have been treating my skin really gently and protecting it. And instead, I thought I could scrub away everything I didn't want. Well, fast forward to now, to my 50s, I definitely know what works and what doesn't work and what I can embrace and not embrace. And when I was younger, I also used to embrace, there was a lot less media then. Obviously, there was no social media, but I would get this. My sister subscribed to 17 magazine, which was the sort of only fashion beauty magazine geared towards young women in their teens. And I would eagerly await it every month, trying to get to it in the mailbox before she did. And I loved it so much, and I would flip through it and I would look at all the editorials and all the beautiful girls, and then all the advertising. I would look at all the models and the advertising too, and I would get sold. Of course, that was the whole purpose, right? That's how I got sold the more alcohol to put on my face. That's how I got sold the really grainy exfoliating scrubs to like scrub away all the breakouts on your face. That's when I got sold a lot, and I bought into it. I bought into it for decades. I literally would get these magazines, and I went beyond, obviously, 17 magazine as I grew older, and then there were all the other ones that I read in my 20s and my 30s, and even into my 40s. I probably stopped reading them like 15 years ago, in my early 40s, because I realized, don't ask me why it took me decades, but it did, that they're just selling something new or something different, but not something effective, because they have to keep selling something. And after looking at these for 3 decades, I'm like, it's the model in the picture that looks so beautiful, no matter what they put on her for this picture. It doesn't mean she used this skin cream. It doesn't mean she used this exfoliating cream. And yet I bought into that for decades. I don't buy into it anymore. In fact, I don't even look at those magazines anymore. I definitely try to educate myself because I know that I'm in the skincare industry and it's really important to me. And like I said at the beginning, I think I knew I would always be in this industry. And I remember, and it was probably from the time the doctor told me that I had to protect my skin when I was 18. And I took that very seriously. So I started putting sunblock on my face on a regular basis at 18, come rain or shine. And I remember one of my friends saying to me, Maria, it's raining out. You don't have to put sunblock on your face. And this was before people knew that you did have to put sunblock if you wanted to protect from the sun. And I remember saying to her, well, my dermatologist told me, and I have fair skin, so I'm just gonna follow that. And then one day when I'm older, I'm gonna be happy that I did it. Well, that one day is here, and I am happy I did it. And what I wanna say to you is, even if you didn't do that, or you're trying to catch up for lost time, or maybe you have the best habits in the world, what I want to do is bring it all back to basics. Because like I said, I fell for the magazines for years. I don't anymore, because I look at anything in life, and when it comes to health, when it comes to your body, to keeping in physical shape, it always comes down to the basics. So let's take your body, for example. It comes down to eating well, right? Eating healthy, not eating a lot of preservatives, not eating sugar. We all know that that's inflammatory. And then it comes to moving your body, to doing an exercise. It doesn't have to be a super fancy exercise. You don't have to have a fancy machine to do it. You just have to move your body in a way that uses your muscles, that tests them. And you could go out walking, you could go out running, whatever it is, you have to move your body. And we all know this. These are the basics. We don't need beyond the basics to have a super healthy body. And what I'm trying to say with skincare, it's the same holds true. We don't need beyond the basics. What we need is to clean our faces really, really well, and to protect ourselves from the sun, and to drink a lot of water and not put inflammatory foods into our body. Those are the basics of skincare. And when you do those, it works. So for example, I showed you all the sunspots that I get on my arm because I didn't protect them. The other side of my arm doesn't have them, but I didn't protect this from the sun throughout the years the way that I protected my face. So I don't have those sunspots all over my face because I always protected it with the sunblock. And that was just a basic thing that got me through. And so at this point now in my 50s, I can always say it comes back to the basics. So now I move, I drink a lot of water, I protect myself with sunscreen every day, rain or shine. And of course I have my face yoga routine, and I have a really good skincare routine. I don't try to make it super fancy. I have what works for me. I have our amazing cleanser, which is my favorite on the earth ever. And I know to clean my face, I can just we have videos on this. I just do skin on skin. I don't need a fancy device. I don't even need a washcloth, because the wrong washcloths that are too rough can actually cause microabrasions in your skin. So I use the most basic things. Like I said, I have a good skincare routine. I have our toner. I use the cleanser, the toner, and the vitamin C. And then I wash my face skin on skin for a minute, and I get it super clean before I put on my vitamin C or my toner, because I know that everything starts with the foundation of a super clean face. Because if your face is not clean, none of the other stuff works. And then I go back to the basics. I clean it every morning and I clean it every evening. I make sure everything is off. That's like brushing your teeth. And when you think about it, it's the purest way is usually the best way. The simplest way, the simplest solution for something is usually the best solution. So I don't have to get caught up in buying 10 or 15 different creams and serums. I know what my routine is, and I know that if I stick to the basics of it, it works. And that's where I am with skincare at this point in my life. I don't try to run out and find the latest thing written up in a magazine, because I know, like our body, it always comes back to the basics of what works, and nothing's ever going to change the basics of eating well, moving your muscles, drinking lots of water, and protecting yourself from the sun. And then of course, having just few but high quality skincare products that works. So that's my little lesson on skincare at this point in my life. I do not go chasing down the rabbit hole of eternal youth, of always looking for the next serum, but I do pay attention to what comes out in the skincare industry. It is the industry I'm in, but like I said, even though I get exposed to a lot and I pay attention to a lot, it always comes back to the basics. And I found what works for me, and I'm sticking to it. And I hope that you can take away from this video, stick with the basics, protect yourself from the sun, drink lots of water, get a really good cleanser and a really good skincare routine going, spend a couple minutes in the morning, a couple minutes in the evening, and you don't need to spend your time on it any more than that. You don't need to go looking for the next fancy thing, because I promise you, there is nothing more effective than the basics.